I'm going to begin, guys, by asking, I mean, obviously, Derek made you guys live together for a short while. I think a lot of the crew did for sort of 6 weeks or so. I was wondering what you felt that did to benefit your performances, and at first, were you quite hesitant when he proposed the idea of doing that?
I think we both seemed to have the same I think we both, it's 12-hour days, you're working hard on films, and it's just an opportunity to kind of break and go back to your own space and be able to kind of reload your batteries if you're staying at a hotel and then return the next day. You know, I've been on quite a few films now, and when you are staying on location, it just gives another, you know, it's a community, and you work very close with people, and you get to know each other. But mostly, I think the reason was why most of us agreed on staying out there after the first try week was because of the nature. I think it's one of the biggest perks with what we do. We get to go to places where we normally wouldn't, you know, get the opportunity to go, the view was spectacular. I've never been to the Southern Islands of New Zealand, so to be given the chance to be there over those weeks just felt like an opportunity I didn't want to miss.
Plus, just sort of, you know, it was an hour and a half away from the next sort
that
of
would have
where the
been
hotel
3
was.
hours every day,
So,
just in a
plus,
car.
you know, we were shooting at dawn on a couple occasions, so it would have meant, you know, getting up at 2 in the morning or something. So logistically, it made a lot of sense. But it turned out to be, you know, a very rewarding experience, I think. Definitely, personally, I didn't really want to go into town sort of at the weekends. Sort of, you know, it was a very special place.
And because it's a film's so intelligently devised in the sense that you really root for the characters, and when they discover the child on the boat, you do almost think that's not a bad idea actually to take it in. And then obviously later on, you start realising yourself that you're kind of it was a sort of terrible idea. I mean, when you first read the screenplay, do you remember going on that sort of same journey where you kind of felt all the same emotions that the viewer feels when they watch the film?
They're correct channels that need to be respected. For me, I just thought, you know, you've got to sort of notify the mainland, and then they can set about trying to adopt the child.
Yeah.
You know.
I think I went on, you know, your road of emotionally feeling that, and I always knew that it was wrong, but it tormented me that I kind of could feel the heartbreak of the loss that they had gone through, and then, you know, them almost having this strange religious experience of suddenly a baby being brushed up on shore in a boat. But that's
fairy tale.
Yeah, but that's also, I think, that the most wonderful thing about this story is that most people start to, you know, want to discuss it. They want to talk about it because people relate to it differently, and there's not a clear protagonist and villain in this film. You kind of, hopefully by the end, will feel for all these 3 characters.
The problem is isolation as well. You've got 2 people who are isolated. They've gone through a seriously traumatic experience themselves trying to start a family. But the thing to remember is that there's, you know, as Tom says, there's a mother to that child who's experiencing loss now as well. So you have to put yourself in her shoes, and that is the key thing. You know, somebody else has lost this baby as they have lost. You know, so it's that has to be the measuring stick or your guide, I would say.
And I mean, obviously, you're both incredible in this film, and there's some really incredible kind of two-handed kind of scenes between you. When you're working in that kind of environment, it must be so good to kind of inspire you and to sort of spur you on when you're kind of acting opposite someone that's kind of matching you at every level.
Oh, well, I definitely had the nerve, you know, I was nervous stepping into that set the first day. I was a big admirer of both, you know, Michael and what I had seen from all of his films, and same thing with Derek, but it was a very supportive, you know, aura and vibe on set, which meant that it was okay to kind of fall flat on your face and try things out, and it always felt like, you know, Michael and Derek pushed me, but also supported me, and that we could, I don't know, keep things alive and fresh and experiment.
And I'll just quickly into regards to future projects. There's Lara Croft, of course, in the Tomb Raiders coming out. I just wonder, obviously, I'm sure Michael, you'll know about this as well. How important is it that you can kind of move in your career between kind of franchises like that and then films like Between Oceans, obviously with you and X-Men? Is it quite fulfilling to kind of have that blend of kind of blockbuster and then the more kind of independent films that are kind of a bit more, say, I suppose, challenging dramatically?
Yeah, I think it's all about knowledge and experience and learning, I find. And so you learn different things from each different scenario. A small budget film, you shoot in 5, 6, 7 weeks with a small crew and not a lot of options because you're restricted. And then you shoot something that takes, 4 or 5 months with, 4 times, 5 times the amount of crew on set, a much bigger machine, and you learn so much from that experience as well. And then just as part of a viewer, I like to go see something which is more of an action adventure, sit back and be entertained film, and then I might go see something which has more of a social pulse or something that is more intimate and has a deeper meaning for us as a society, let's say. I enjoy both, so to be able to sort of play in both is ideal.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey,